Welcome to the GetRealWealth.com radio show, where wealth means a lot more than just building a second stream of income. Listen and learn how 70% of the millionaires in America used real estate to create a lifestyle that most people only dream about. A lifestyle that includes good health, family, romance, travel, charity, and all the other parts of a balanced life. Now, here is your host, real estate investor and mentor, Steve Davis.
Good afternoon and welcome to the show. I am your host, Steve Davis, and as always, we're talking about how to use real estate to build a life worth living. We talk about using single-family homes, apartments, small commercial, to build permanent residual income streams that allow us to quit our jobs if we want to, or switch jobs, or start a business, or whatever we want to. Because we have this income coming in from our real estate, we have a thing called financial freedom, which is the true goal. A lot of people out there are talking about retirement. What is retirement? Sitting there doing nothing? I'm just not sure how many people that's the real goal. I've done it twice, once at 30, and for the last 2 years I was semi-retired. I don't like it. I have no idea why someone would want to sit around and do nothing, or just travel, or I'm sure there's people who do. I don't understand it. I want to have a purpose. I want to feel good about what I'm doing with my life. I don't want to sit under a palm tree sipping Mai Tais till I die. I want to feel like I have a purpose. I want to have a purpose. I want to be helping and serving people. As John Wooden said, a life not in the service of others is not a life worth living. I believe he's 100% accurate. So anyway, that's what we discuss every day. Today we're going to discuss, if you're not in the financial position that you want to be in, that it's all your fault. Now, this one can be very hard to take, because we live in a society where people blame outside factors for everything. There's literally people that think that by voting for a certain president is going to change their financial position. I would love to know where somebody got that idea. That is the dumbest idea. Oh yeah, I'm going to vote for so-and-so because he's going to change the economy and change my financial future. Well, I've seen the economy change multiple times. Never affected me. I've never gotten a dime from a president. Now, one time a president gave me back some taxes. If you remember that, I think it was Bush. Gave a refund. That was my money. He didn't give me anything. He gave me back my taxes. That's about it. No. We live in a society where everybody blames other things, outside factors. And I'm going to use the fitness analogy because, one, it's funny, but it dovetails with wealth so perfectly. And I think the main reason it does dovetail with wealth is because your health is the foundation of wealth. But when I go into a room in America, this is anywhere in America, by the way, 50% of the people are clinically obese or morbidly obese. 50%. And I worked in the health club industry for 5 years and dealt with about 15,000 signups. Do you know not one of them walked in? Not one. Now remember, 50% of them were clinically obese or morbidly obese. Not one of them walked in and said, man, I got an eating problem, bro. I need to stop eating so much. I got a normal metabolism. I'm a pig. I overeat. Not one person walked in and said that. Here's what they said. Oh, I got a slow metabolism. My wife can eat anything she wants and doesn't get a pound. But I gain weight. Yeah. In other words, It's not me. It's some weird outside factor that I have no control of. It's not my fault. That is horse crap of the worst kind, because it destroys your life when you lie to yourself like that. Here's what happened during that 5 years. Not one person that I got on a nutritional program and an exercise program didn't lose weight. Not one. Every single one of them, with their slow metabolism, suddenly started losing weight when they ate less and exercised. See, obesity is a choice. It is every time you decide to overeat, you gain weight. It doesn't happen by accident. You can't go sit on a boat and don't eat for 4 weeks. You're not going to gain weight. There's only one way to gain weight: to eat more calories than you burn. Period. If you're overweight, you have an eating problem. You're either, in the morbid obesity case, it's an eating disorder, which is interesting to me. They show obese people on TV, but they would never show an anorexic person. It's the same disease. One's got an eating disorder where they eat too much. One's got an eating disorder where they don't eat enough. But we promote it as if, oh, it's okay, that's just a different body type. No, it's not. And see, because we're promoting that, people are going to become more and more delusional about their health. More and more people are going to die from obesity because Hollywood is making it okay to be obese, as if it's not their fault. See, it's the same thing with your financial destiny. If you're not in the financial position that you want to be in, it's your fault. Now, isn't it painful? It's like, oh, Steve, you are negging me out today. Don't let me neg you out, because I'm going to tell you something. There's good news. A tremendous amount of good news. It's mind-blowing. When I realized this, and I was luckily young, I was 25 or 26, I want it to be my fault. I want every problem in my life to be my fault. The reason is, if it's my fault, I can change it. If it's not my fault, it means I'm a victim, I'm a slave, I'm out of control. You want it to be your fault. This is the greatest thing in the world. And we'll talk more about it when we come back from the break here on the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. You can call me at 281-558-5738. You're listening to AM 700, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Did you know that 95% of Americans fail to retire by age 65 and 36% are dead? The good news is that here at the GetRealWealth.com radio show, we know what the other 5% are doing. 70% of them own real estate. We are a mentoring group for new and experienced real estate investors. We will show you how to build a second stream of income that will allow you to retire at any age. I will be explaining this at a free 2-hour introductory workshop this month. If you would like to attend, please go to GetRealWealth.com. That's GetRealWealth.com. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. We're talking about the fact that everything wrong in your life, and this is a rule because there are exceptions. Some cancers are totally out of your control. Unfortunately, a lot of them are in your control and caused by your behaviors. But there are times when things go wrong that you do have no control over. But that is a much, much worse feeling than admitting that everything else that's wrong in your life is your fault. Because once you swallow that bitter pill, as they say, you can change it. It's the day, and again, I was 25, 26. I was still working 60 hours a week or whatever. And I'm not even sure what book it was that I read. It was probably The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But when I read that, it irritated me. I'm like, no, it was my parents' fault. They didn't teach me about money. It was this, the school systems didn't teach me about money. I could have blamed 3 or 4 different groups of people on why I was broke. But when I read that book and realized that it was my responsibility and that the power of admitting that it's your responsibility is that you can change, I realized I wanted everything to be my fault. Everything. And so do you. It's a bitter pill to swallow at first. But as you begin to think about it, and you start to say, well, if it's not my fault, then I'm a victim. Do I really want to be a victim? Am I going to hide behind it all my life and not get out of life what I want? Yeah, it's Obama's fault. It's Trump's fault. It's my senator's fault. Is it? They got nothing to do with you. I can assure you of that. I know that's those of you that think you're involved in politics, and you're really not. You just talk a lot. They're not doing anything for you. You're going to have to do it yourself. Take personal responsibility 100% for everything good or bad in your life. Now, you'll notice that I said take responsibility for the good stuff too. And that is important. You have to give yourself credit or you'll never start believing in yourself. A lot of people are embarrassed or shy about giving themselves credit. But listen, if you've been in a passionate, wonderful marriage for 20 years or longer, really in today's world, even 3 years or longer, give yourself credit. You're doing something right. If you've got a couple $100,000 saved up, give yourself credit. You're doing something right. Now, golly, I know some people are going, yeah, but Steve, you always say that's not a lot of money. It is to get started, especially when you start making the rates of return we're going to talk about at the end of the show. It is a lot of money to get started. $50,000 is a lot of money to get started. 100 or more, that's a tremendous. Give yourself credit. There's even a rule out there that I read that every time you achieve something, you should give yourself a gift. And the gift doesn't have to be expensive. It can be a nice dinner or maybe something you need, like a new briefcase or a new pair of shoes or something like that. And I practice that. Sometimes too much. I give myself too much. But every time I make an achievement, I reward myself. And it does something to you psychologically that makes you feel better about who you are and builds your confidence. And if you own a company, isn't it wise every time an employee does something good that you reward them? It works, doesn't it? Appreciation sometimes is the only reward you need to give, but it needs to be done so that those people know they're appreciated, they know they're loved, they're cared about. Makes them feel more secure in their job, makes them willing to take more risks, which usually pushes a company forward. You know, you get in these companies, well, I shouldn't be talking about business, that type of business right now. The point that I want to get across is, and I've said it a couple times, is that you want everything in your life, good or bad, to be a result of your decisions and behaviors. In other words, you are responsible, good and bad. Yes, it's painful to face the fact that if you're not in the financial position you want to be in. It's your fault. But it also empowers you by being able to say, man, if I did this, then I can undo it. I can change my behaviors. I can change what I'm doing with some of my time and start, well, since we're focused on wealth, start building more wealth. I can take that $50,000 I've got saved up and go invest it in a couple of rent properties, 2 or 3. Yeah, can take that $100,000 and partner with a syndicator and buy an apartment complex. It's your fault, and you want it to be that way. And I know for some of you it's still not gelling, because I've taught this to individuals in one-on-one mentoring, where an hour later it was still painful for them. Don't let it be painful. It's actually an empowering feeling when you suddenly realize that you're in control. You're in control. Do not beat yourself up because you're not in the financial position you want to be in. Realize that you can now change it. And it makes you feel so good once you finally grasp it, that you are in charge. Your decisions will determine your future, not Obama's, not Trump's, not anybody's. Your decisions. And then get out there, and my recommendation is, of course, buy some real estate, start building some passive income, start building some wealth for yourself and your family. It feels good. And the neat thing is, my huge sales pitch is do one little single family house this year. Just one. That's all you need. Get one this year. And it will change you as an individual. It's scary. It's nerve-wracking. And until you do it, it's horribly scary. Because you're like, oh my God, what if I fail? I'll look stupid to my wife. I'll look stupid to my husband. I'll look stupid to my friends. I'll this, that, and the other. See, that's all ego-based crap. Doesn't mean anything. Do it. Get one little rent house this year. And then when that check starts coming in, and you're just sitting at home, you're watching whatever on TV, and you say, honey, I'm going to go check the mail. And you go check the mail, and you come back with a check for $1,700, of which $400 is profit for you. You're a totally different person at that point. Totally different. Because now you not only have heard me say it works, you've done it. And then it's just a cookie cutter process from that point forward. Let's do another one and turn that 400 into 800. Let's do 4 or 5 more and turn it into, or I guess it would be 20 more, 18 more, and turn it into $8,000 a month. I promise you, the day you take complete responsibility for everything in your life changes. It's instant. It's amazing. Let's go to the phone lines. We're going to go out to California and talk to Yog. How do I say your name? I'm sorry.
Young. Yeah, hi.
Young, how you doing?
Yeah, hi, how are you? I have a question. So, how do you recommend for owner finance for invest property, sir?
I like it now, let me ask you a question. Are you owner financing it to someone else, or you're buying it owner financed?
I'm buying owner finance.
I like it. Just make sure that you've got an attorney on your team that watches that transaction. Because, excuse me, because they're not regulated the way a normal mortgage is. So, a owner finance deal can have, if it's I'm going to use the word bogus seller, and he puts something bad in there, like a due on sale clause or a, in early payment penalty, things like that. Make sure those are not in there. But yes, I bought a lot of property owner financed, including a 10-unit apartment, a 22-unit apartment, a 23-unit apartment, a 40-unit apartment. So yeah, I love owner financing.
Okay, so invest property owner finance is you recommend, yeah?
Yeah, you still have to analyze the deal. It still has to be a good deal.
Okay, good deal.
Yes. In other words, a lot of times owner finance deals are full price, and sometimes they're even higher than full price. And they think you're going to do it because, hey, it's easy financing. It's owner financing. Don't do that, Young. You make sure you analyze the deal. Make sure you've got equity pickup and cash flow. If all the numbers work with the owner financing, then yes, definitely, I recommend it.
Oh, okay. How the title goes to owner finance then?
Well, close with a title company, and you'll get you got to have title insurance. Don't do it without title insurance.
Okay.
You mind holding on about 4 minutes? We got to go to break.
Yes.
Okay, hold on, please. All right, this is the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Call me at 281-558-5738. This is AM 700, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Did you know that 95% of Americans fail to retire by age 65? On the GetRealWealth.com radio show, we study what the 5% who are successful are doing. 70% of them own real estate. Listen and learn how you can use real estate to build wealth and passive income. Listen to the GetRealWealth.com radio show every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. right here on The Answer, AM 1070 KNTH. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. We're on the line in California with Young. Young, thanks for holding on so long. What was your next question?
Yeah, my next question is, if you have a permanent resident FHA loan, can I take the equity out and invest the property with that?
Well, how much is the property worth, and how much do you owe on it?
We'll just say a number. We owe like maybe $100,000.
And then what's it worth?
Worth it, I'd say worth it about $400.
Good Lord. What I would do is I would go to Fannie Mae and get a Fannie Mae loan and just refinance that thing and pull out the money that way, as opposed to a HELOC. I would just refinance it. Fannie Mae is going to have the better interest rate. I think you'll have to shop it. But yeah, I would refinance that. I would do it after you find the perfect deals. In other words, don't refinance until you've got some deals lined up to put that money in. Okay.
So you could still invest the FHA loan, get the money out. You could invest the property. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's really the number 2 source for money for most people is to refinance their home and pull that money out and buy more real estate with it.
Okay. All right. Thanks for all the answer.
All right. Thank you for the phone call. I really appreciate it, Young.
Thank you. Yeah.
Take care. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. You're also welcome to email me. It's asksteve@getrealwealth.com, asksteve@getrealwealth.com. Got an email here confirming for tonight. Yes, I am teaching from 6:30 to 8:30 tonight, but I cannot reserve you a seat. If you would like to attend that workshop tonight, we are done and out. It starts at 6:30. We're done and out of there by 8:30. Go to getrealwealth.com. In the upper right-hand corner, it will say free workshop. Click that button, and you can reserve a seat there. GetRealWealth.com, upper right-hand corner, free workshop. And I'd love to meet as many people as possible tonight. I'm only going to do 3 or 4 more of these before my son takes over. So if you'd like to meet me at one of these events, I will be doing one tonight and one Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11. You can find all of that at GetRealWealth.com. Okay, so I know I'm probably beating this to death, but I do want to say it one more time. before we proceed into this incredible deal. It's amazing. You are responsible for your financial position. It's not the government. It's not your parents' fault. It's nobody's fault but yours. But the good news is you want it that way, because since it's your fault, that means you can change it. Do not beat yourself up, and do not call yourself a failure. It's just a result. You're not getting the results you want from your life. Just change what you're doing. Modify your behaviors, and you'll get a new result. One of the easiest ways to do that is to come to my free workshop and learn about our mentoring. If you're not going to come see us, see somebody and start getting somebody on your team that's got out of life what you want so you can imitate them. That is the quickest path to success there is. Find someone who's gotten out of life what you want and imitate them. That, by the way, that strategy is over 100 years old. It's probably thousands of years old, but I know for a fact that Andrew Carnegie said that over 100 years ago. Okay, let's talk about this 200. Now, I'm rounding all these numbers off. This is a deal that a guy did after he was kicked out of another real estate investor club. Unbelievable. I guess they thought he was starting in a competing company or something like that, which he wasn't. He was just raising capital. But bottom line is, I've rounded all these numbers off to make it easy to understand. I think the real number of units was like 224. I rounded it down to 200, so it'll make sense as I go through it, and it'll be easy to understand on the air. But we're actually going to do a value play where we more than double the value of a property in a little over 2 years. Think about that. Doubling the value of a property in about 2 years. It's incredible. So basically what he did, he went out and he found an apartment complex, 220 or so units, and he was able to purchase it for $4 million. Now, why so low? Because it was a disaster. It was a disaster. Massive deferred maintenance, high vacancy, low rents, because when you got a piece of crap apartment, guess what you have to do to get people to move in? You got to lower the rents. He put in over $1 million into the rehab. Now, that's a lot of rehab, people, even on 200 or so units. That's new paint on all the buildings. I believe it was roofs on 80% of the buildings, new perimeter fence, asphalt, you name it. The closing costs were around, I always put them at around $250 whenever I give this example. They're less than that, but I always go high, just so I don't miss it. And then that gives an all-in cost of $5.25 million, $5,250,000. Now, what he did was, by the way, the total out-of-pocket, $1.25 million, $1,250,000. So the question is, where did he come up with that money? Well, he was raising capital by advertising on, not advertising, I guess that's the wrong word. He had a list of investors, let's put it that way. He had a list of investors, people who wanted to partner in apartment complexes. The way that Real Wealth Academy puts together these deals, you have a syndicator, and that's the person who puts together the deal. And the members, the other members of Real Wealth Academy, put up some of the money. So did this guy have $1.25 million to put down on this deal? No. So he starts calling through his list and finds the $1.25 million. He then forms an LLC with the other people, and they all own that LLC. The LLC, and you say, well, how much did each person put up? Maybe some people put up 50, maybe some people put up 200. Maybe maybe one person put the whole thing up. I should have asked that, but I'm sure it wasn't that way. I'm sure it was a few people at 50, a few people at 75, a couple of people at 125, that. Whatever people can pull together, they can participate in these deals. Well, he then goes out and rehabs the property. They close the deal, and they completely rehab the property. Again, we're talking new roofs, new paint, new landscaping. I think there were 60 plus units or 70 units that needed complete rehabs, and new asphalt, just a complete rehab. Well, what happens to your vacancy when you do a complete rehab? It disappears real quick, because everybody in the neighborhood wants to live where? In the nicest place in that neighborhood. And if you're the most freshly rehabbed, most beautiful apartment on the street, guess where everybody comes? They come to you. So he bought it with a net operating income of about $500,000. And the bank, because this was a high-risk deal. Now, why is it a high-risk deal? Because it's mostly vacant. It needs $1 million worth of rehab. It's a high-risk deal. So the bank wants a very high capitalization rate, in this case, a 10. So with $500,000 and a 10 cap rate, that gives you a value for the property of $5 million, which is what he was paying for it. So it worked out almost perfectly. Good Lord, that is perfectly, because he paid the closing costs up front. Yeah, it worked out perfectly. So then he goes and rehabs it. Sorry about that. And I want to get the list. Here it is. It was new perimeter fence, new paint on all buildings. It was 60 units they had to rehab. They increased all the other rents. And by the way, this was a little over 2 years. This can be done in 18 months to 2 years. This one took a little bit longer for some reason. But who cares? When you see what he did, he increases the occupancy up to market and gives him a new NOI of net operating income of almost $750,000. Well, those of you that are familiar with the cap rate and the NOI, you're going, well, that didn't double the value. Yes, it did. Normally, you would have to double the NOI to double the value of the apartment. But see, the bank said this to him: you're no longer a high-risk deal. We will take a lower cap rate. In this case, they took a 7% cap rate for the refinance. That gives him a new value. Remember, he paid $5.25. The new value, $10,700,000. More than double. Now, did that double your money? No. It quadrupled it. And we'll talk about that. It may not quite be 4 times, but we'll talk about that when we come back from the break. This is an insane deal, and it's so funny because I've described a deal just like this multiple times before, and now to see one that fits this parameter is really cool. Okay, call me at 281-558-5738. We'll talk more after the break. Thanks for listening. Did you know that 70% of the millionaires in America used real estate as their main investment vehicle? You can and should have some real estate in your portfolio. This is Steve Davis, host of the GetRealWealth.com radio show. Starting with bad credit and no money at age 27, I began investing in real estate. By 30, I was retired. I will be explaining this at a free 2-hour introductory workshop this month. If you would like to attend, go to GetRealWealth.com. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thank you for listening. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. We are in the final segment of today's show. So if you've got a question for me, I really need you to call right now. It's 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-KSEV. If you can't get to the phone or you're a little shy, please just email me your question. Let's get that question answered. Maybe something's holding you back from us and you need some encouragement. Email me at asksteve@getrealwealth.com. Ask Steve at getrealwealth.com. So we're right smack in the middle of the analysis of this 200 plus unit apartment complex. And this guy has raised the value by about $5.5 million. They then refinanced it and pulled out like $3.7 million. 3.7. Think about that. They put 1.25 in, and they pulled out 3.75. That's almost exactly, I think it is exactly 3 times as much. I thought it was quadrupled. They tripled their money in a little over 2 years. So if you had put $50,000 into this deal, you would be walking away with 130, 120, maybe even 150, I'm not sure. And you still own the property. You still have your $50,000 in the deal, but you've got $150,000 in your pocket. And guess how much tax you owe on that? 0, because it's a loan to the LLC. This is why people are getting rich with real estate. Now, big disclaimer. Is this a common deal? No. This is a bases loaded, grand slam home run. It is the best that I've ever seen in an actual case study. I've heard rumors of better deals, but this is the first time I've ever had a literal in my hand case study of a deal this good. I mean, it's crazy. What should you normally expect? Don't expect a 150% rate of return. It's going to be somewhere between, a 300%. Don't expect a 300% rate of return. Expect somewhere between 50 and 150, and that's pretty common. If we go into a down market, of course, it's going to be on the high end of that. In the up market, like we are in now, it's going to be on the low end of that. So this is just, that's exactly how the members of Real Wealth Academy are making money and going to make money this year, next year, the year after that, because it's happening all around you. The question is, are you going to participate, or are you going to just listen to the radio show and think you're going to get an education from a radio show? I had a conversation with a guy today, Steve Rosenberg, one of the best property managers I've ever seen, the only guy I would ever trust to run my properties. He was talking about how people, they have unrealistic expectations for forums. They have unrealistic expectations for radio shows, because a forum like Bigger Pockets, which I love, by the way, if you're not a member of that, go check it out. It's a neat place to read and get encouragement on real estate investing. But it doesn't replace a mentor. I don't know where people got the idea that a forum could ever answer all of your questions. The reason a forum or even a radio show like mine can never replace getting a mentor is because you don't even know, what's that old phrase? You don't know what you don't know. So let's say you bust your rear end and you sit down with your spouse and you come up with 100 questions on real estate investing. And then you listen to my show and get 50 of them answered. And you get on Bigger Pockets, you get the other 50 answered. Are you ready to invest in real estate? You're not. Because, see, there were 200 questions you were supposed to ask, but you didn't know what the other 100 were. You cannot replace taking a course or getting a mentor, and it doesn't have to be me, but it's got to be somebody. You are going to get slaughtered in the marketplace if you go out there and try to do. Real estate's not intuitive at all. You have to know the best practices. You have to know, like I just described a deal where we tripled our money In 2 years, you want a piece of that, don't you? How many of you think you can do it by yourself? I promise you, you're thinking wrong. You know, the reason I don't let them call me a self-made millionaire at the beginning of the show is because I'm not. I have a team of over 100 people that have helped me achieve the results that I've achieved. Life, and especially business, is a team sport. You've got to have a team to do this. This gentleman, he's got a huge team. I bet his team is bigger than mine. In fact, I know it is, because you got to add all his property managers and employees to his team. He would tell you he's not a self-made millionaire either. And my argument is there's no such thing as a self-made millionaire. Now, there's arrogant people that will call themselves a self-made millionaire, but I've never met one. Never met one. Every millionaire that I know has a team of people that help them along the way. And you need a team as well. So please do not think that this radio show, I want you to keep listening, and I want to share everything I can. I'm not holding anything back, but it would take you years of listening to this show for me to cover everything that's in our 2-day class. That's all there is to it. You could take a 2-day class and knock it out in 2 days, or you can listen to the radio show for several years and hope that I cover every subject. Choice is yours. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-5738. Getting some emails now. Investment group, okay, this must be because we just talked about it. This person, Aaron, is asking about investment groups that help you find deals. Turnkey properties. Okay, let me address turnkey properties right off the bat. I have never seen a good turnkey property deal. Never seen it. Every one of them that I've analyzed dozens, not hundreds, but definitely dozens, and they were all full price. All full price. Why would you ever pay full price for a property? That's not investing. That's speculating. You're waiting for it to go up in value to even make any money. An investor buys property 15, 20, 25% below market, and they get $400 a month cash flow. These turnkey deals that I'm looking at or have seen in the past, they were a couple $100, and they weren't even taking out vacancy. I don't like turnkey deals. With all that said, is it possible there are good turnkey deals out there? Sure. But like I said, I've never seen one. So be very cautious, Aaron, of anybody that brings you a turnkey deal. You have to run your comparable sales to make sure that it's not full price. You have to run your rents, comparable rents, to make sure that it does have positive cash flow. Just like any other deal. Just because some company says, oh, we've done all the work, it's in perfect shape, it's 10,000 below mark, you don't trust that. You check it. And again, 10,000, I wouldn't even look at a deal with only $10,000 equity in it. Let's read on. So fellow listener joined a group for $6,000. Then they wanted to upgrade him for $35,000. That's got to be Fortune Builders. Fortune Builders' basic program is $35,000, and I think their advanced program is $60,000. But they do all the legwork. Is this a good idea? You know, man, this is a tough one. When I look at this, the answer is yes. Some of these groups are real, and they find deals. We do it. We find deals for our members, both single-family apartments and commercial. The difference between us and other groups, and man, I'm going to have to say the word, Lifestyles Unlimited finds great deals. Let's just say it. I'd be stupid to say they don't. But when you go outside of our group and lifestyles, I am seeing garbage. And I try to keep an open mind. But when I analyze the deals that I see people doing, they're marginal at best. In fact, one group, and I'm not trying to badmouth any group, I'm not going to say which one it was, I actually told people with no money to go call their bank, get an increase on their credit card limit so they could join. Why would you sign up somebody to invest in apartments when they have no money? You're going to get them to pull $35,000, $40,000 on their credit card, and they have no other money to invest. Yeah, you got to be careful, Aaron. Analyze the company, get references, and move on. All right, thanks for listening.
Wealth.com radio show. Please remember that this show is for entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as legal, tax, or investing advice. Always get a professional opinion before making any investment decision. To find out about the mentoring and consulting at Real Wealth Academy, visit GetRealWealth.com and attend one of our free introductory workshops on real estate investing. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thanks for listening and have a great rest of your day.